right, so we're chapter 20, first Western Europe during the High Middle Ages. We're in the first heading, which is establishment of regional states. I'm going to see if I can get through two subheadings, go through both France and England with their regional monarchies, and then the regional states in Italy and Iberia. So it starts with the regional monarchs in France. So we call this time period Capetian France because what's going to happen is after the Carolingian Empire, Hugh Capet, who's a relatively minor noble, is going to basically get to be in charge of the other nobles, kind of essentially elected to that post. Now, what's interesting is that even though he's only really in charge of Paris, really what's going to happen in this case is his descendants are the ones who are really going to really strengthen the bonds and grow their power more and more throughout this area. The most interesting of these areas is going to be Normandy, because not only the Normans are basically Vikings who come down and start to settle in the area. Although nominally they're a part of Capetian France, they really do everything they can to kind of centralize themselves and to try to be their own independent thing. This is going to be important because not only are they going to take France, part of France, they're also going to take England. So what's going to happen is they're going to invade in 1066 under a man who will become known as William the Conqueror. He is going to dominate the Anglo-Saxons, other Germanic groups that are there. But what's interesting is he also is going to bring kind of some of the Norman governmental principles, the things which will kind of set the stage for a more centralized England in things in the time to come. So again, there are still groups under there. Again, like everyone else, they have to try to keep everyone happy, but the Normans do bring more ideas of centralization to the area. Moving over to Italy, Italy, as you know it, isn't going to exist until the 1800s. So what's going to happen is that in this time period, we're going to have Italy. What we know as Italy is going to be just a mess, especially up here in the north. And you'll notice there's a whole bunch of different provinces. There's going to be a whole series of ecclesiastical, which means attached to the church, city-states, and principalities. What's going to be interesting is the papal state is here controlled by the Pope. And it's a good-sized piece of territory. But what's happening is here in the north, all of these areas are going to continue to get so rich that they're going to be able to basically, fight off the total domination of the church. What's also interesting is that what's going to end up happening is the Normans not only take a little bit of France, take England, they're also going to loop their way over into the southern part of Italy, which have been taken over by the Byzantines and different Muslims. They're basically going to set the stage for the kingdom of Napoli, is what they would call it, as the Catholic Church is going to get to kind of reassert their influence over the southern part of Italy. The last group then is the Iberian Peninsula. What's going to end up happening is, you already know from Al-Andalus, we have Muslim Spain from about 8th to the 12th century. It's basically a remnant of the Umayyad dynasty that breaks off from the Abbasids when the Abbasids take over in Persia and basically create Dar al-Islam. What's interesting is that a part of this is going to be Christian. And what's interesting about Al-Andalus is that it was rather tolerant. And so what's going to end up happening, though, is just like everyone else, there's all these leaders amongst these different things that want to kind of assert themselves. So what's going to happen is we're going to have the Christians kind of move down, move down, move down, move down, partially with the help of, you guessed it, the Normans will also get involved here. But anyway, what's going to end up happening is eventually these Christians are basically going to take over everything until we get down here till Granada. So what's interesting though as well though is one of the reasons why they are going to have success is going to be some intolerant Muslim leaders who kind of take over the bottom halves here of what we call southern Spain today. And so the Christians as well will be relatively tolerant to Jews and to the Muslims. It's not going to be into the Spanish Inquisition in the next era where things really hit the proverbial fan. And with that, that's subheadings 2 and 3.